Okay, we're at the end here. This is video number 5 entitled, Is This a Deal? As part of our series, 9 Steps to Analyze and Isolate Best Apartment Deals. So what do we have here at the end? Having gone through this entire process, what do we know? What we know is the trailing NOI. We know where the building is operationally as it sits. We also know our stabilized projection for where the building is gonna be when we're done doing what we're gonna do. And number 3, we also know that there is value add, because if there's no value add at this point, after step 2, this building goes into the trash bin, right? But if there's value add, which we've established by defining a delta between T12 NOI and the stabilized NOI, at least projection thereof, then we go on to step number 4, which is to determine exactly what it's going to take to get the building from T12 NOI to stabilized NOI projections. So this is what we know. We know we have all this data, but at the end of the day, how do we figure out at what price this deal is a deal? I mean, all of that information, steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, may be true and valid, but at what price does this building really make sense as a transaction? I want you to think flip. I don't know if you've ever flipped a house. And, this is obviously, please take this with a grain of salt, but it's a lot more complex than what I'm about to illustrate here. But at the end of the day, like big strokes, think flip. First step in a flip is we define the after repair value, right? Then from that, we subtract our holding costs. From that, we subtract our repair costs. From that, we subtract our profit margin. And what we arrive at is the strike price, which we can afford to pay, right? Now, where a lot of newbies make mistakes is by starting at that bottom, saying, okay, here's how much I have to pay for this building. Here's how much I have to spend on this building. So what I pay plus my repair costs plus my holding costs plus I think I'd like to make XYZ amount of profit. This is what I have to sell the building for. The trouble with that is that the market determines what you're going to sell the building for, not you, the market. And if what you have to sell the building for considerably exceeds what the market is willing to justify and pay you for, then you're nowhere. So the correct way of approaching this concept of a flip is to start by asking the question of, what's my exit going to look like? What's my ARV, after repaired value? Now, it's very complex. It's easy in single family in that it's just comparative market analysis. You take a look at the other properties in this location that are selling, you adjust for amenities and floor plan and what have you, and you per square foot pricing, whatever methodology you use, but it's ultimately at the end of the day comparative market analysis. You're looking at sold comps. In multifamily, of course, it's a little bit different because multifamily value is in some way, in a lot of ways, actually a function of the income. So you have to base your ARV on the income somehow and capitalize the value from there. This is a very long and very in-depth and very, very hugely important conversation. And we will be having this conversation in January at the Phoenix Syndication Workshop. If you come, as you should, you will leave knowing more about multifamily than 99.9% of the people buying multifamily. Forget everybody else. But this is the basic formula. After repaired value minus holding costs, minus repair costs, minus profit margin. Of course, holding costs are inside of the NOI, right? Because those holding costs in our case are OPEX, and that's inside of the NOI. The repair cost is our capital expense. Okay? So this may be the basic formula, but obviously I'm frankly leaving you hang because there's no way at all, not even remotely, I can dig into all of the questions and all of the answers and all of the details that I really need to in order to have a meaningful conversation around this. I do consulting, and it takes me about 6 hours to walk people through this process and explain every piece of it. That is exactly what I'm going to be doing on January 26th. In fact, I gave myself 8 hours to do that. But some of the questions that need to be answered is, how exactly do you get to the after repaired value? What metric actually determines the strike price? Is it cash and cash? Is it cap rate? What is it, right? How do you know what stabilized rents should be? Because everything resides on top of stabilized rents. That's where everything starts, right? How do you know what the OPEX should be? How do you approximate the CAPEX? We will be teaching you that and so much more on January 26th and 27th at the Phoenix Syndication Workshop. This is the end of the series entitled 9 Steps to Analyze and Isolate Best Apartment Deals. I'm hoping you enjoyed it. I'm hoping you gleaned some detail from it. I apologize for being completely unable and frankly unwilling within the scope of this series to dig into any more specifics, but hopefully I've pointed the nose of your ship in the right direction. I really sincerely hope to see all of you, if you're watching this video, if you have an interest in multifamily syndication, whether it's because you have some money to deploy, you've been successful in life, and you'd like to invest some money in multifamily, and you're looking at offerings, how do you know how to work it backwards? How do you know how to really try to understand if what you're being offered is good? So if you're looking to be a passive investor, we will teach you how to avoid some of the pitholes and not make the big mistakes. If you're interested in doing what Sam and I do, which is playing on the sponsor side, we will obviously cover a lot of detail and a lot of specifics. Some of the interesting components of the second day on January 27th. Of course, we're going to have property visit. And some of those pictures I showed you in an earlier video of the renovated units, you will see that. It's possible we'll have something else to show you by then, but we're definitely going to take you to Canyon 35. Also, we're going to have some speakers. We're going to have a banker. We're going to have a real estate broker. We're going to have an SEC attorney. We're going to have some people to tell you exactly how things work and without fluff. You know, we're aware there's a lot of people putting on seminars. We're not going to be doing high fives. We're not going to be doing push-ups. We're not going to be feeling good about ourselves. We're going to learn. That's what we're going to do at this workshop on January 26th and 27th. I really hope to see you there. Thank you and have a great day.